To see all of you, there's a summer brightness I see in this hall, and I'm not buttering you up. I'm actually happy to be here. And even as Rajesh Bhai introduced this whole idea of this series, it's called The Church Will Arise. We will embark on a journey this morning to unlock what I call the best wisdom. Most of the New Testament comprises of letters written by Paul. And if you have taken some time to focus on how he writes, there is a brilliance in his articulation. There is a preciseness in choice of words. Paul himself was very well educated. And he was gifted this enabling to put the message in the right words. And that's for Paul who's writing this. He, in all his letters, literally not one phrase is out of place. And when Paul would speak, some of those speeches that are mentioned, whether he is speaking while the ship is in a storm, whether he is speaking in front of the court, the speeches are brilliant. And we are talking of the environment of the culture. I talked about the Greeks. And I remember, now, I didn't naturally gravitate to liking Paul because of his brilliance and oratory, mostly because of the power that is contained in the words. There was a person called Sahil who joined me in my previous organization almost 6.5 years ago. He started with X amount of salary. I'm not going to mention any figures here. Okay? By the time he comes to me, and now he once I retired, a few months later, he joined me, and we've come to a stage that we are narrowing and closing down certain things that we are doing. And his salary from 6.5 years ago has gone to 5 times the amount. And he's set to move. He's already got 2 interviews cleared. He'll continue to be connected. There's another girl who came in as a research assistant last year, just 1 year, has worked with me. Came from the previous organization with, now we'll call, say, Y amount. Amount didn't change while working for me. She's got a job offer joining this 15th, 2.5 times that salary. I may have not done anything, but you know what I rejoice? When they move forward, there is growth. How does this happen? We want to claim that we are very good. I am in Ahmedabad, and one of the set of people I came in cross with is something called edupreneurs, entrepreneurs who are in the business of education. And I became friends with a person. He said, let's meet. So we did a networking meeting. 5 minutes into the meeting, something he saw, we were just sharing notes. We had no plans for any business connect. About 10 minutes, he said, sir, you are into behavioral studies and assessments. Can you assess my behavior? Now, normally, I am very clear, I'm a little ruthless in the business ethics. Okay, so I don't do it till the person actually goes through the process, but I just felt a nudge from God is, go for it. So go for it. I have just met him once, and that is the second meeting. I said, maybe in about 10 minutes as we speak, I will talk about you. And guess what I was doing in between? I said, Spirit of God, you have to be with me. You are my partner. You have to unpack everything. I do disc assessments, unpack everything. And I was making mental notes. 8 minutes later, I said, his name is Sunil. I said, Sunil, shall I try sharing what you are currently undergoing? This is not predictions, okay? And I was unpacking in bulleted points, and his eyes were literally popping up. He says, how do you exactly log? I didn't tell him all the answers. I told him. I said, in the church, we call it prophetic insight. And I was praying. But also, having heard you earlier, having heard you from your words, And that's one of the key in coaching and counseling. As you talk to the person reveals more, and you just have the enabling of the Holy Spirit to see with clarity. And so this is the mystery of God, or we call it mysterio to theo, which means what we have not even imagined, what we have not even thought about, what is not even been heard about, will you be prepared for it? And so I have stopped limiting myself when someone asks me, what do you want? I said, be careful, you are asking me for what I want. I serve this living God who has no limits. But let me give you a very different example. We have a few people who are specially oriented towards the arts. Imagine you have to submit a painting for a special competition and you're lost what to paint. I know there are movies like Tare Zameen Pe and all that. We know all of those ideas. Can I ask you to think, and nowadays writing poetry has become easy thanks to ChatGPT. Okay, people can write romantic verses to their spouses because of ChatGPT. So that's all okay. I'll teach you how to do it better also if you meet me. But imagine you have to write a painting and said, Lord, I don't know what to paint. Will you give me an inspiration? By the way, I am not a painter, but I have had this experience. There was a seminar and we were talking about ports of India then and now. And at some stage, and there was one team who are artists who are collaborating with us. And we said we should make a painting which is the theme for this seminar. And almost 3 weeks we were stuck, we didn't know what to do. I always pray. I said, Holy Spirit, show us an idea. And I remember we have this port of Goa, Mormugao, and it's a very interesting profile. From one, there is an airfield and there is a port, and then you have a modern port. So I called him, his name is Sachin, and I said, Sachin, can you paint an old port, very naturally the terrain changing into a new port? He looked at me as if like I kind of, gave him treasure. And it's a beautiful painting. I don't have a copy. And he called it Confluence. In the same image was an ancient port and a new port. We may have done nothing of that particular segment that is there. And God can give us an idea of, not just an idea, but of creativity.